How you doing? Well, I'm up here in Payson. It's been kind of a rough weekend, but I found a quiet place in the woods. And I wanted to talk to you about something that you probably didn't really think about. What a lot of people do when they first come out here is they're overwhelmed by the vastness of the woods. How do you pick out something to make an interesting shot, an interesting memory when you're out here? I mean, it's beautiful out here, but it's so big. What you have to do is try to train your eye to look at things a little closer. Look for the small details in this vast woods. And there are a lot of them. Although when you first look at it, you think it all looks the same. It's just trees and, hills and grass, and it's just tree after tree after tree after tree. I beg to differ with that. For example, if you look at if you look at a crowd of people, they're all people. They're all wearing clothes. They're all walking the same. They're all standing. They all look basically the same when you look at the crowd. But they're all individuals. They have something very unique about each and every one of them. Same thing out here in this vast array of trees. They're all unique. That's one thing to look at. The other thing to look at is look on the ground. What a lot of people do when they come out here is they're looking at this level, at eye level. But there's so much else going on. It's better to show you what I'm talking about. I found something kind of cool. Let's go look at it. Okay, what I found here was a little pine branch fell off the tree and has started to decay. But it's like in a perfect fan shape, and it's bordered by two pine cones. Let me show you what I got here. If you look at this right here, we've got this pine cone right here, this fan-shaped pine needles, and this pine cone, where are you? This pine cone over here. I really like the shape of that fan, and I like the color against the real dead pine needles on the ground. It really makes for an interesting shot. So how would we take this shot? Well, it's basically a no-brainer. You can set this at any aperture you want, because there's no really depth of field issues other than the pine cones, but everything is so close it really doesn't matter. So I'm shooting this at f8. I've got a 10-second timer on this thing. If you see the way my tripod is set up here, I've got to extend the arm out there, and this is kind of shaky. So I put the 10-second timer on and allow the hit the shutter button, and then that allows everything to settle down and stop shaking to take the shot so it's not blurry. So let's take this. It's at f8 at a 40th of a second, ISO 100. And there we go. That's a pretty cool shot. All right. What else are we going to find here? It's really easy to be overwhelmed by the everything that's in this woods. I mean, it's sensory overload. For one thing, it is so quiet in here. The only thing that I can hear is when the wind blows, the tops of the pine trees are going. That's pretty cool, which is different than yesterday when I was in here. Yesterday when I was in here, there was people everywhere. So I just abandoned this yesterday and came back today, and it's nice and quiet. So I almost went home, to tell you the truth. I was just so tired of every place I went, all the spots that I knew that I wanted to shoot and see if I could get some pictures. There was people there. But that's okay, it's for everybody. So you just adjust and come back the next day, come back later. All right. Like I said, the vastness of this woods is a little overwhelming. But if you just take your time to look a little closer at things, you're really gonna be surprised what you see and what you've missed every time that you've been out. And it's not just in the woods, it's everywhere you go. I always say this, that it's the little things, the little details that make an interesting photograph. Wow, look at that over there. That is really cool. I don't know if you can see that, but the light is going in that woods right over there. There's clouds in the sky right now. And every once in a while the sun breaks through and it puts little patches of light in there. Right now it's fading. I think it'd be an interesting day. If I find a subject that the sun is beaming on, I just got to set up and wait for the light to get right. But let's see what else we can find on the ground here. You know what else? You know what else is really cool? Is don't just concentrate on the ground. Don't forget to look up. It's a little tough with exposing for the sky because the sky is so bright. If you look up here, see how that's all blown out right there? It's challenging, but it can be done. There's interesting shots up there. There's an interesting shot right there. Look at this tree. This tree right here. It's probably 2 or 3 feet. I just heard a coyote. There's a coyote. Okay. Anyways, this tree is about 3 feet around on the bottom. But if you look up, we're going to get that shot in here in a minute. If you look up, I'm just going to tilt you over. Hang on. Look at that. What happens when you look up this tree? Look at that. Isn't that cool? All right, we're gonna get that shot. What else can we find? And remember where that tree is, because that's pretty cool. Okay, what else we got here? There is a little little pine cone right there, nestled in between two rocks. All right, I gotta get my other camera and my macro lens, and I'm gonna get a shot of that. That's really cool looking. All right, hang on a second. Okay, this is really cool. This is a cool shot. This is the perfect example of looking at things a little closer. There's the little pine cone, some kind, I don't even know what it is, but it's nestled in between two rocks. And I don't even know if I need the rocks or not. I just like the texture of the little pine cone. Let me show you what I'm looking at here. Let me get something to point with. Here we go. This is going to be blurry, but all right. This little pine cone, look at all the little spines sticking up on that thing. Nature is so cool. Look at that. And everybody would just walk by this and wouldn't even see it, or kick it, or step on it, or just ignore it. But this, This world is just full of intimate details like this that make very unique shots that you can add to your portfolio, or just to help document your trip, if you're on vacation or whatever. But okay, let's take this shot. Like I said, I've got my 100mm macro lens on here, and I'm not really that close. It's probably that's probably a foot away from it. But I want to fill the frame with as much of the pine cone as I can. And I don't want, as far as aperture, I want a little bit of a blurry background just to make that pine cone pop in the picture. So I'm shooting this to that f6.3. I got my 10-second timer on, the 1/10 of a second. Hit the button, and in 10 seconds, that allows the camera to settle down, so no camera shake, no blur. 3, 2, 1. That's a really cool picture. I don't care what anybody says. Okay, let's go back over to that big tall pine tree, and let's get that shot of looking up. Last shot of the day. It's getting late. I gotta head home a little bit because back to the grind tomorrow. But I gotta get this shot before I leave. All right. Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna lay down on my back, and I'm gonna try to frame this shot up so it's like the trunk of the tree is coming out of the bottom of the frame. Is it the bottom of the frame or the top of the frame? I think it's going to be the top of the frame. Anyways, I want the tree trunk on top of the frame. We got a gray cloud going over, so that'll help with the exposure. The sky is just going to be blowing out. There's no color in it. It's just blah. But this might be a cool black and white picture. So, all right, let's do this. I'm going to shoot this at f8. You got to turn the camera on first. Framing is real important on this shot. So just play with your focal lengths or whatever, but I'm going to shoot this one pretty wide so I can get a lot of that canopy of that tree in the top. All right, let's take this one. Got a lot of sky in there. All right, let's do that again. There you go, that's a little better. Okay, I like that one. You can also turn it around. If you don't like it, you can just flip it around and post it and have it go the other way. But still, it's a cool shot. Okay, get out in the woods, take some pictures. Wherever you live, a park, wherever. Look for the little details that make interesting shots. Sometimes you've got to avoid the big picture and look at the small things to get some interesting perspective. So, all right, guys. Until next time, keep shooting your camera. Okay. You know what? I got a little time before I gotta head home, so that was pretty comfy right there. I'll see you guys next time. Take care.